Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, top 1 financial advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. Today, I want to teach you about the Dividend Kings. These are one of the most exclusive groups in the stock market, especially inside the S&P 500. So in today's video, we need to talk about what are Dividend Kings, does it make sense for you to invest in them, and then what are the pros and cons when it comes to these types of stocks. So first, what are the Dividend Kings? Dividend Kings are companies within the S&P 500 that have paid a dividend for 50 consecutive years or more. So some on the list have paid dividends for like 60 plus years. One of those that I've talked about many times before is GPC. They've done well. They've been paying a dividend as of July of this year for 66 consecutive years. 66 years in a row. That is twice my lifetimes. They have been out here cutting a consistent check for its investors, which is great. So what about the list, right? There's about 40 to 41 companies on there, but the thing is, not every company that is a Dividend King is a good company, or at least a good investment rather. For example, Target. Now, yes, I've been beating up on Target all year long. Maybe I'm salty because I invested in Target and it didn't go well, and that's because of this. It just hasn't done well over the last year. However, over the last 6 months, it is up 3.4%. Hooray. But aside from that though, they are on the list. They've been paying a consecutive dividend for I think about 55 years in a row. So when you look at the entire list, yes, there are companies that don't do all that well and have paid a dividend. There are some that have done extremely well and that also pay a dividend. Then you've got those like Procter Gamble. They make like toilet tissue and diapers and all that kind of stuff. That has always, I feel like, has been right in the middle of the road. Coca-Cola is also on the list. That's paid for about 50 to 60 years, and they've just been middle of the road. Never really, make 14, 15, 16% per year, but 5, 6, 7, 8% plus a dividend. That'll do it, right? And that is the beauty of companies like this. So what are the pros and cons? The pros, in a time like this in 2022 and for what we'll see in 2023, if we continue to see inflation and especially if we can continue to see rising interest rates, which we do expect, companies that pay dividends tend to be a little more inflation resistant, interest rate resistant. That's because as everything else is out there changing and shifting and moving, people move to companies that they know they can count on. Procter Gamble have been out here paying a dividend forever. They're extremely boring, just like Coca-Cola. Extremely boring, but they've been paying dividends for decades. So what a lot of investors do is say, look, maybe it's not, Salesforce that hasn't done all that well this year. Maybe it's not a Mullen Automotive, which definitely hasn't done well last year. Say, look, I'm just going with Coca-Cola. Worst case scenario, I am probably going to get another dividend this year because I've been doing it for 5 decades in a row. Okay, so that's what most people do. Now the downside is that usually these companies don't grow a whole lot. And that's not a blanket statement for everyone because again, GPC is up like more than 30% in the last 6 months. So obviously that puts it in the top 10% of stocks this year, but that's not always normal for companies that have been paying dividends like this. That is because, like Procter & Gamble, I think, and fact check me if I'm wrong here, but I think Procter & Gamble was founded in like 1891 in Ohio. Now, I could be wrong because I read a whole lot of stuff. I'm just pulling that one off of what I think is memories. I think they were founded in 1891. Correct me in the comments. But aside from all that, if you've been around for that long and you produce so many things, it's only but so many places you can grow. Same thing with Johnson & Johnson. You're only going to get but so much bigger. So people are really counting on you for a consistent paycheck. And that is the beauty of many of the companies inside the Dividend Kings. But again, the downside is you're probably not going to get a Google or Tesla year where it's up 150% and you can really increase your wealth overnight. Dividend Kings are usually a slow, steady, consistent game here. Now, again, there are pros and cons. When it comes to the pros, obviously, yes, a consistent paycheck is usually pretty great. I think most people would tend to enjoy that. But also, when the market is I don't want to say shady, but when the market is bumpy and rocky, having companies like this usually can smooth out your portfolio. So what I would suggest, not that you have to do or own any of these, but sometimes it does make sense to either A, find an ETF or a mutual fund that has or focuses on these stocks. And there are several that are out there. Or You can pick through the list and see which ones you like. GPC is one of mine that just happens to be on this list that has done quite well. And again, we've talked about that inside of our members only. Now, what I am going to do over the next probably 2 or 3 days, because there's 40 some odd companies on there, what I'm going to do is take that entire list and then give, inside of our members only, give them like the top 10 stocks that I like off of that list. Now, if you've been watching for the last, I don't know, 3 weeks or so, and liking and commenting and subscribing, all of those things are free that you could be doing right now, because I'm giving you about 10 seconds to do so. Just hit that little like button. It helps the algorithm, helps the channel, all those things. Aside from all of that though, we've been focused on dividends because people have been asking. So I've done my best stocks for passive income, where you're just getting money left and right. I've done the best stocks that are growing that also pay a dividend. And then I can take this list of the Dividend Kings. So of the companies that have been paying dividends for 50 consecutive years, which ones are the best in my eyes? We're also going to put that out probably in the next 2 or 3 days. So if you're interested in that, make sure you click the link right here for the members only. Now, before we close out the video, yes, the Dividend Kings is probably, again, one of the most exclusive groups in the stock market, period. I think the only other group that's probably more exclusive was the $1 Trillion Club. I think there were only like 5 stocks that ever hit that level. That was Apple, Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Tesla. I think those are only 5 in the history of life that have ever, or the history of the U.S. stock market, that ever had a $1 trillion valuation, where the market cap, that's a price of the stock times as many stocks that are out there, hit $1 trillion. A lot has happened since then, and obviously Tesla and Meta are nowhere near $1 trillion at this point in time. But aside from all of that stuff, again, the Dividend Kings are probably the second most exclusive club in the market. But then you also have what are called the Dividend Aristocrats. Those are companies that have paid a consistent dividend for 25 years. So it's kind of 2 groups. One that's paid dividends for 25 consecutive years, also inside the S&P 500, and then those who have paid it for 50 consecutive years, which is obviously a smaller list, which is also, again, inside the S&P 500. For those that may be new, the S&P 500 is the 500 largest companies inside the U.S., and then you start to kind of make these distinctions from there, and then put them into different lists and decide whether or not you, as an investor, might want to consider adding them to your portfolio. The last thing I'll say here is this is the time to consider what you want to change, what you want to add, what do you want to subtract from your portfolio. We're going to talk a little bit about taxes in the next few days as this year starts to close out. I'm looking at my calendar here, and I've got a few more Christmas gifts I should probably go buy at some point. So aside from that though, this is a time, so check out our dividend videos, check out the last videos and lists that I've done, and say, look, maybe I want to do more research on X, Y, and Z company and add it to my portfolio, and also let go of some companies, because it's the last chance, it's coming up on the last chance that you can sell and perhaps write off some of these things on your taxes to help your tax situation and go buy something new in 2023. So this is your opportunity, just telling you now, to start your research process if you haven't already, and start to make some changes to your portfolio. As we get closer to the end of the year, I will tell you what I am doing. I do this every year. I've been doing it for the last maybe 3 or 4 years, of what I'm changing, what I'm keeping, and why I'm doing all of that. So make sure that you stay tuned and subscribe to the channel so you can get a notification when we do that. Because when I made changes back in June and even last year, and most of those companies did work, you were on that train and we was all making money. So you definitely want to at least listen and consider. You always want to make sure that what we talk about on this channel, or any resource ever, to make sure that you do your own research and see if it fits with you or not. There are plenty of companies that I like that I don't invest in for certain reasons, and just because I already own some stuff. So for example, for me, AutoZone is doing well. I don't invest in AutoZone because I already have O'Reilly's. I don't want to double my risk in the exact same category. So there are some things where it may fit with your portfolio or it may not. So you want to make sure that you always take that and then say, does this work for what I am trying to do and where I'm trying to go? Yes or no? And then you can make your decision from there. But anyway, all that stuff aside, we will be taking the top 10 outside of Dividend Kings, putting that out for our members only. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you click the button here for our members only. If you want me to cover anything else before the end of the year, you might want to let me know now, because I only got, what, 10 days? Oh my God, it's only 10 days. The 31st is the end of December. So I got 10 days. So that is, what, 8 more videos before the end of the year? I'm not going to count on my computer because you take out the weekends, because I do brand new videos Monday through Friday. if you knew. Okay, so that's 250 videos every single year. I work really hard for y'all. But anyway, if y'all want me to cover any more topics before we finish for 2022, let me know. That helps me help you, help me help you. So that I can put out content that is most helpful, and that I'm not putting out stuff that nobody wants, right? All right, so that is it for me and all of my silly ramblings about Dividend Kings. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.